Hey, what's going on, collectors, toy hobbyists, enthusiasts, and aficionados? It's me again, Mr. Steel, aka Neek the Geek, with another review of the Let's Play Review Toy Show, and today I'm reviewing the Neca 2-pack, Scumbug, and Anthrax, or Anthrax, however you pronounce it. So anywho, without further ado, we're going to jump into it. Not too much to say about this. I mean, for the most part, I have all the accessories laid out right here. Just really came with a couple bugs, and I believe this is a device that you use for Baxter Stockman. It's in one of the episodes. But yeah, unlike most 2-packs or whatever, these two didn't necessarily come with too much. I want to say, considering the fact that they really have just the fixed hands and fixed positions, for Scumbug just to hold his, I want to say, no, his turtle exterminating gun. That and the little, I'm assuming, control device that he uses to control the cockroaches with. And then as far as Anthrax goes, he just really only has like the 4 hands to really hold his weapons. Surprisingly enough though, because most of the 2-packs that Neca has came out with, each character, especially the Triceratops, and I'm assuming the Rockman too, they come with optional hands that are just not fixed for just holding weapons. So kind of a weird, packaging design choice that I guess Neca wanted to run with. But for the most part, these figures are not bad. I give them a B+. They have their gripes, and I'll get into that in a second. But I mean, as far as cartoon accuracy, super on point. The detail on them is super nice. The paint job on them is just, they hit it out the ballpark with this. The design engineering, especially for Anthrax, is just like, man, it's legit. The diaphragm is just crazy. Same thing with Scumbug too. So that was definitely a plus for these two. If you're not familiar with the characters, so Scumbug over here on the right, almost hit the camera. The Scumbug over here on the right pretty much got his first appearance in the Archie comic books of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures in 1992. And I'm assuming it was the same backstory from that carried on to the 87 cartoon, which had both of these two in the episode Night of the Rogues, which didn't premiere till 1993. But pretty much Scumbug was just an exterminator that Orokusaki, disguised as a businessman, hired him to fix the roach problem, but then he ends up getting hit with some mutagen after being exposed to roaches, so he turns into this. And as far as Anthrax goes, as far as the only backstory, because like I said, both of them, cartoon-wise, had their first appearance in the 87 Toon series, which that episode aired again on 1993. But Anthrax, if I'm not mistaken, came out as the OG toy line first, and basically he's labeled as, I mean, even though he looks like an ant, he's a mutant from Dimension X, because if I'm not mistaken, the package just labels him as Krang's only executioner. So rather than him being an ant that was mutated, he's pretty much just an alien from Dimension X. But both of these characters have had different iterations of them from across the board, from 87 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to, I want to say, 2003, the Archie comic books, even 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I think even Rise might even give like an Easter egg shout out to both of these characters. So, but yeah, pretty much, gotta read your comic books for the most part. But on top of that, let's hurry up and jump into the articulation, and let's see what we could do with these two. So on top, you've already noticed that his weapons, as far as Anthrax goes, are already off, and the reason for that is because basically when you're trying to change the weapons out, what it happens is, like, the peg on the hinge is so skinny that you don't want to, let me see if I can try to focus this, it's so skinny that pretty much you don't want to damage it, or you don't want to pull it off completely. So what I had to do pretty much is just kind of shimmy it in, kind of shimmy it out, and then like change the weapons like that. But for the most part, that was another thing I kind of noticed too, that was like kind of the gripes as far as Anthrax goes. Like, there's so much of a risk of breakage as far as like the hinge joints go. But I guess if you have to heat it up do that thing. But for the most part, it's just kind of like, oh, like, why should I have to do that, or why should I have to pay this amount of money if I got to do all that? So try to make sure I get it at a higher angle for the most part, because I know I'm going to be bumping this stuff. So let me just go ahead and move Scumbug. We'll talk about him in a second. Position him right. So, for the most part, Antrax is on a ball joint. The mouth doesn't move, but the antennas do. So I would assume on a hinge, or for the most part, or not even a hinge. I think it's just socketed in and just has enough room to pretty much twist 360 degrees around. But the head does turn 360 degrees. The arms on the joint, they go off this much. Four of them right quick. Hit that right there for you. And also are on hinges, but they are double jointed though. And they have like this little piece right here, and it kind of blocks it, but you're still able to get some good posing in. Again, the hands are on hinges, so they do just go back and forth. Put that down real quick. Then as far as the upper diaphragm goes, it's on a ball joint, so he pretty much can kind of crouch forward that much forward, or not crouch forward, but yeah, crouch or lean forward that much. If we go back that much, not a whole lot back, but swivel, and then legs are on ball joints, on the two wall joint, but they do go off this much. A little bit of rocker there. Ankles on a hinge, and then the tail also. I believe it's on a ball joint, but it does twist around though. So, like, the Asiatic of this figure is pretty dope. I do wish they could have included a lot more as far as articulation goes, considering the fact this is a forearm character. But I figured probably Neca would probably either cut corners or do what they could. A lot of paint rub though. That's something I've come to see a lot of Neca figures, whether they're like the older first generation 87 tune figures, or even the ones that are just releasing now. A lot of paint rub, because just FYI, just telling everybody to be careful when you exchange, or when you take out the hands to put in the weapons. Be careful to not overdo it, because I took one out and I got black paint from that hinge joint on my hand, so that was something that was just like kind of concerning right there. And then next up we have the Scumbug. So same thing on the hinge joint as far as the arms go. He's also double jointed, and he has nothing blocking him, so he's able to actually get a lot more. This, for some reason, it is attached. The turtle death ray, I don't know what it's called. Like, I'm probably just gonna go back and just his exterminating gun, turtle exterminating gun. There we go. So it doesn't have anything to hold it, but what I usually did, I just put it on the back like that. It's gonna come off regardless when I get into posing in more pictures and stuff like that. So there's that. The head is also on a ball joint. For this one though, as far as his mouth is on a hinge. It actually does move, so I do like that. His antennas though, you can't turn them, so those are static. They're staying there. One thing I found interesting about this figure was there is a ball joint in the upper torso, and it could go that forward, go back. It's on a swivel, so it turns side to side, but at the same time you also can like twist it like this, so you can get a little bit more. So say for example, if you want to try to get him with some kind of awkward man bug pose or some weird stuff like that, you can get him with some pose like that, which is actually pretty cool. Like, I noticed that they weren't going to give him too much ab crunch, but for what they did, and considering the fact that the shell really does block a lot of it, you got a good amount to where you could get some decent posing in with him. The legs also are on T-ball joints. They go off that far. Swivel. There's actually swivel on both of them, so sorry I didn't point that out before, but kind of swivels in that much, swivels in back. The feet are also on a hinge with ankle rockers. Same thing with Antrax and Scumbug. You have the left foot, which is kind of exposed, and then the right foot on the figure, which has like the boot or still booted up. So overall, these are pretty legit figures. Like price tag on them was like 70, I believe, retail, which wasn't, you know, ideal, especially for like a character or characters that you might have only seen in like one episode. Hence, the only other appearances were probably like across the board, so it's just like they don't really line up with each other like that. And on top of that, you don't really get too much. So for as much you get with these figures, it's just like, you know, again, the price point on it wasn't that great. But if you're like me or somebody who's like a diehard TMNT fan, then, you know, more than likely these figures are for you, for sure. So something just to complete your rogues list for as far as villains go, and, you know, something just to have in your collection. But, you know, again, it was just something with Neca that I was just like, yeah, I'm not really too cool with this, but I guess I don't want to try to look for it on the secondary market. And on top of that, I'm kind of waiting for Super 7 to see if they're going to do Scumbug, which more likely they are. So, and he just keeps falling because he's like top heavy with that back shell of his. But I'm kind of waiting for Super 7 to see what they do with Scumbug. And from that point on, I'm going to see if I end up keeping this one or getting rid of it. Antrax from the Neca line, he'll stay for sure. But just curious to see who does what with Scumbug next. So, but aside from that though, let's get these guys posed up and get them fighting some turtles. So, see you guys in a second. One thing I just want to mention right quick that I totally forgot, both these characters do have bicep swivel too. So you won't necessarily, I mean, you might think it's just one piece, but there is bicep swivel for Scumbug in the shirt. And then the same thing with Antrax. Of course, all arms. Wouldn't make sense for them not to give him bicep swivel. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they do move around 360 degrees. So, just in case you want to get some weird posing in. And again, the legs have a bicep swivel, or not bicep swivel. They have thigh swivel. So that for that one, and then the same thing with Scumbug too. So just in case everybody's just like, where's the swivel at? It's there. Trust me, it's there. Honestly, I don't really like to hype myself up too much, but I had to say this setup was pretty dope. Frustrating for the most part because I was trying to get everything together and trying to pose these 4 dudes all together, and they kind of gave me some kind of stripe. But these ones right here, especially him, trying to get him in that fixed position, and then just trying to get him to kind of stay up there I had to figure out some things to do because I didn't want to use too many stands or anything like that. But honestly though, like I said, this setup in general right here was pretty fun. Got to totally break out my Rise TMNT playset and then have fun pretty much putting these two dudes together, just having them just messing turtles up. So like I said, pretty fun. So again, for the most part, like I said, these figures are definitely, you know, some of NECA's greatest figures that they have put out. A few gripes with them. Paint apps are kind of wonky for the most part. I mean, there is paint rub, and you have to move around the joints. The ball joints and the heads don't really extend that much out. You do get a good range of motion. Maybe, possibly butterfly, but then again, this is like NECA's usual tooling when it comes to their figures, so it's not too much that you could possibly ask for that you would get. But again, like I said, not A pluses, but definitely B minuses. So they are some great figures. I would recommend them to anybody who just wants, you know, cool, obscure characters for whatever purposes, or even if you're like the most hardcore Ninja Turtle fan. Like, I would definitely recommend to get these characters in your set. Definitely got a lot of enjoyment out of them. Definitely got a lot of cool playtime with them. So I mean, that was like that's always a fun thing when you get new action figures and you just like, oh, okay, like you want to have you know, longevity and the playability in these toys. You want to have it for a long time, so there's always that. But aside from that, I hope that you guys enjoy this review. Hope that you guys enjoy the photos. And yeah, you know, for the most part, I hope that you collectors, hobbyists, and enthusiasts, and just overall, you know, nerds, just happen to just have a fun time collecting what you want, and just continue to just be good people. Other than that, take it easy, collectors. I'm blessed one. Peace.